I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then I start a war.
All right, guys, what's going on? Willie back. Landlord Wars, episode number 3. We're sticking with the same building. We're now on E3. I know you guys thinking, holy shit, these guys buy some effed up properties. This is just one of the ones that really sticks in our head because of the the tenant base that was there. And like, not all of our buildings are like this. We do have a lot of stories, but this particular building, it was just 1, 2, and 3. Was really rough for us. So E3. This particular kid, it was an unfortunate situation. This one, they were very, it was kind of nasty. Their unit was kind of nasty. Their apartment was kind of nasty. They didn't really keep it up. Mice problems, roach problems, stuff like that. So we really wanted them out. They were also paying about 50% of market value. Wanted to get them out of the unit. And then, something really unfortunate happened. We had an agreement with the tenant's mother. And then, somewhere along between the time that we've agreed for her to exit until that date, she actually passed away. And very unfortunate situation. We wanted to be, not insensitive to the situation. So there were 2 kids that were there, 2 of her children, and we let them stay for a period of time. Obviously, they were grieving. There were things that were going on. We didn't want to just come and say, hey, now it's time for you to go. So I want to say we waited. I mean, Leo, correct me if I'm wrong. It was probably at least 6, 7 months. We had them there all while they're causing problems. We put brand new appliances in. A brand new paint job. We did a bunch of other things, and they're just kind of tearing the place up and pulling down smoke detectors. There's leaks coming from their bathroom. They're overflowing kitchen sinks and stuff like that, causing all types of problems for the unit, below. So there was a period of time where we were trying to get them out. And then finally, I think at some point, we came to an agreement with the 2 kids that were there. They were both older kids. They were 18, 19, 20, somewhere around at 21. That they would exit, and we would pay them to exit the building because we knew, like I said, they were just causing too many problems. Leo, I'll let you kind of share your experience with the tenants of E3.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit of a tricky situation because we had kind of they kind of agreed to some sort of deal pretty quickly because they knew they were paying quite below market rent. They for some reason would not agree to a rent increase through Section 8. So what we ended up figuring out some sort of package for them where the mother and the 2 kids would take some money, go to a new apartment, and we'd be able to fix it up. And then I really remember this. I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before they were supposed to leave. It was like December, and I get a call that, obviously the mother passed away, which is obviously a very strange position to be in because the lease was under her name. The Section 8 voucher was under her name. Everything was kind of through her. So we were just kind of, left with the 2 kids and kind of an uncomfortable situation because we can't really press them right off the bat, right? I mean, they just lost their mother, so we weren't really going to do that. But, and those kids were taking it pretty hard. I mean, it was obviously an unfortunate situation. One of them actually, like a couple nights later, called me and essentially threatened me. He told me if I took another step on the property, he'd like shoot me or something. And I didn't really take it too seriously because I knew they were just going through a lot.
That's why it's so dark at Leo's house right now. He's still ducking that kid. He's got the
no comment
right now because he's still ducking the kid. Said he was going to shoot him in the face. Oh, man.
Hey, it sucked because I remember getting that call as well because I was actually on vacation in Portland, Maine, and I was like, just finished a great dinner, and then I get that call, and I was like, Jesus. So yeah, it was just a lot of things.
Let's back up for a second. How do you even respond to that? Like, what is your text message back to somebody who tells you they're going to shoot you?
Well, this was on the phone. He called me. He didn't text me that because if he texted me that, I would have, I would have gone.
Shot it at that point. Now it's
right. I think I just for a second I remember this feeling. I was just like, what the hell is going on? And then I basically just said, look, man, it's my freaking property. If there's going to be any issues, cops are going to be there tomorrow. So I don't, again, I knew he was going through a lot, so I didn't really think it was going to be like a thing, but it certainly did happen.
So let
Unfortunately,
me ask you this: like, how do you after having somebody tell you that they're going to shoot you, do you have any regrets buying the building at all?
no, because again, we knew what we were getting ourselves into. Like we bought that building at a huge discount. Like we knew there was going to be some bullshit we were going to have to deal with, right?
Right.
I mean, was I a little scared? Maybe, but like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Oh man, holy shit! So, yeah, man, no, that he was. It was an interesting situation. Again, it was very unfortunate. We are, never want to be insensitive to somebody's situation. Mother passed
Yeah.
away. And when we say kids, they weren't like 14-year-old kids. They were, when we say kids, they were in their, early 20s. They're adults at that point. So, it's a tough situation, but we let them stay for a while, but they were just causing too many problems. We finally came to an agreement with with one of the kids. And that was the other thing. I think they had very similar names and they kept
Yes.
fucking with me,
And they had two brothers. Yeah, that's what it was. It was two brothers, and one of the brothers wasn't actually like had moved out at some
Right.
point while we bought
It
the
was really
building.
only just one kid that was there. It was two brothers,
Right.
one that was living there, and they had it was like John and Jonathan or Darius and Daryl or something
It
like
was
that.
something like that, but
Something like that. And it was just kind of like they kept
the other issue is one of them was so the kid that moved out was a lot more open to like talking with us and understanding and realizing what the situation at hand, whereas the kid that was still there was a lot more aggressive about the whole situation, really was trying to fight us on every kind of inch and corner.
Right. So
Yeah.
I would say my last experience with them is we came to an agreement with the kid that was there. I finally chased him down, figured out who he was, and I think you reached out to him. We got him to sign something basically saying, I can't remember what the number was. I think it was $2,500, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
$2,500 that we agreed to pay him to exit the unit. We would give him, I think we gave him $1,000 and then the other $1,500 when he exited the unit itself. For those of you who are thinking that's a lot of money, it is, but like I said, some of these units in Boston are renting, that same unit is probably renting for $3,000 right now. So, and they were paying $1,200 at the time. So it just made sense financially to get them to exit and then, get somebody in. So one of the last experiences I had with him, it still sticks in my mind today. Every time I like go to Best Buy or something like that. I was at Best Buy the other day. And the kid tells me, he has this big 19-inch tube TV. And he clears out all his stuff out of the unit. And I send my demo guys over there, and I'm like, just take everything out. He left a whole bunch of dressers and clothes and trash and everything else. He calls me, texts me, I'm done, I'm out, got his money, cashed the check immediately, went and did his thing, probably spent it the same day. And that's where we ran into trouble. He spent the money the same day. Then we get over a dumpster over there, and we throw all his stuff out. Big tube TV, and then he has this other like thing that's probably as small as this laptop that I'm talking to you on right now, maybe 16, 20 inches max. And all those things go in the dumpster. And he texts me, and he's like, I'm calling the cops, and I'm suing you, blah, blah. I want $3,000. I'm like, $3,000 for what? And he's like, you threw away my flat screen TVs. And I'm like, okay, go to any local pawn shop and go get the TV, and I'll give you the $60 that they charge you. Send me the invoice, and I'll give you the $60. Where do you get $3,000 from? And it sticks in my mind because he basically says, no, it wasn't $60. It wasn't a cheap TV. You threw away a 60-inch Sony flat screen smart HG4, whatever HD4 TV, 4K TV, right? So I'm like, no chance that my guys are that dumb, to throw away. So I go over there personally, look in the dumpster, and it's the tube TV that's sitting there. So I'm like, all right, fine. Maybe there's something at the bottom of the dumpster that we miss. So I go on bestbuy.com and I find a 60-inch 4K smart TV Sony, and I send him the link, and the thing is $600. And I'm like, how do you get $3,000 if I can buy you a brand new one for $600? He says to me, Leo, I give you my word, no, there were two of them. And I said, 600 times 2 is what? I was like, and then he repeated it. He said, but no, there were two of them. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's say there were 2 times 2. That's $2,400.
Well,
Where do you get 3,000 from? So he just keeps beating it and beating it. And then the worst negotiator in the world, we ended up giving him $300 for. We ended up giving him $300 for his position, and I owed him 3,000. He settled for 10% of whatever. We gave him an extra $300 just because, again, situation with his mother. Young kid, probably spent all the money on the first day. Really sucks, but like I said, these are some of the things that you have to go through as a landlord. Some of the decisions that we wanted to make, and we didn't want to just leave them out there. So unfortunately, the LLC, the operating agreement, or the operating company, decided to give him another $300 just to kind of settle and be on his way. And then we made him send me a text and say this was the final number and this is it. But every time I go into Best Buy, I always look at the prices of TVs and I kind of laugh because I'm like, dude, they're only getting cheaper there. There's no way that I
actually did not know about that. I didn't know that you actually ended up paying an extra $300. That's actually really fine.
I have a soft heart, man. I wasn't giving him the 3,000 he was asking for or anywhere close. But kid, and because I made him agree that he wasn't going to shoot you. So I also, I was kind of
I appreciate that. You got my back.
I wanted to call off the hit, so it was also that. It was $150 for the TV and $150 for your life. So
it's good value. Good value.
So good.
And I'd say one of the bigger lessons, because I remember we talked about that he came back for that, and actually so one of the lessons for the viewers for this is since then we've actually also started using much better contracts. So every time we do cash for keys now, we had, after that situation, I had a talk with my attorney, and we got much better contracts that essentially protected us for any such situations ever unfolding, right? So our contracts today, basically, once they sign them, it basically, relieves any sort of leverage. They can't come back for us for anything, any furniture, anything that they might have left behind. Once they sign the dotted line, it's all done, and parties are split forever, right? So that definitely was, it was a good little learning lesson. I'm glad it only ended up costing us an extra $300.
Yeah, no, I think my biggest takeaway, and again, it's just a lesson that's just been repeated over and over again, is document as much as you can. Especially today, everything is done by text message. Everything is done, and sometimes, especially when I'm in situations like that, I typically don't like text messaging, but in situations like that, I took it off of the phone and made him text me because I wanted a paper trail, so to speak, a conversation trail that this was it. This was the final payment that we were going to get for you. Everything was out of the apartment, and he kept texting me, okay, I remember that. And I was like, no, that's not what I want to hear from you. I want to hear you say in the text message the conversation that we had on the phone, like, this is it. This was the final thing, blah, blah. And I want you to hear, I want that to be coming from your side, not just a simple response. And once he did that, I said, you know what, I have the documentation that I need. A lot of things happen on the phone, which is great, to have those personal conversations. But I suggest landlords also take it off of the verbal, because then it's a he said, she said type of situation, and bring it back and send a follow-up email, making sure that tenant or whoever is on the other end agrees, and there's a response or a recognition of the agreement that's in place there. So just document as much as possible, especially when you're dealing with people's living quarters and their safety and everything else. You just want to make sure that as a landlord, you are protecting yourself if anybody comes back down the road, man. So that's it for episode number 3. Lior, I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad you're still with us.
Thanks. All thanks to your $150.
Man, I hope you guys are, like I said, taking some value away from this. We have a lot of great stories. We'll be back. We're going to be putting these out every Wednesday, once a week, and we'll be back next week with episode number 4. We'll see you then.
I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then